Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you for joining me and happy 4th of July to you. I hope you're having a great day. Make sure you have spend some good time with your family and friends this weekend. Don't get stuck on the charts. But what I'm looking at here today is just some areas of retracement. I'm going to be looking at altcoins and obviously Bitcoin to identify areas of consideration for, basically either taking along or how much further down is the price going to go. The concept here is that we're looking like we're probably going to bounce here in the relative near future. But again, it's a weekend, holiday weekend specifically. These can kind of lead to like a lot of false positives. So just be mindful of that. We're going to be looking for areas of confluence, not just with liquidation and also fib levels too. We're not going to be focusing on Elliott wave theory here today because that's a theory. It doesn't really work too well because you got to have consistency with confluence. I'll explain that. Having said all that, thank you for being an amazing part of my life. Don't forget to hit the like button, comment below. Let's take a look here at some liquidation first. And the reason why liquidation is important, folks, gives us a baseline of where everyone's hedged the most, like how many positions are where specifically. And more importantly, these are areas of liquidation where people will get stopped out or their stop loss hunts will be targeted, okay? So having said that though, low 107K, there's a little bit left here locally. Obviously there's a gap and there's a lot more down at 104K that's starting to pile up as late longs come in. Having said that though, we got a lot of shorts in between 110 and 111. It's a pretty sensible place to consider shorting. I was going to consider a short at 111 once that area of liquidation was swept. It didn't sweep it, just kept on going down. Very standard stuff here, folks. Every time you think it's going to go one way, it goes the other, and it's just kind of a big screwball for your head there. Either way, what we're looking at here with liquidation long delta is that it's approaching break even. This is a turning point potential. Oftentimes you will see the momentum continue lower based on this. And what this tells us is just that we're seeing the same amount of longs as shorts in the market. So as shorts start to pile up, more longs are starting to get destroyed, so to speak, and or closing their positions. So we're reaching this break even. That usually implies a momentum shift, a shift in direction. It's rare for the price to just pivot and bounce off of zero, basically a zero delta. Okay. Now we take a look here at open interest. The important thing to recognize here is that there's a lot of open interest still at 105 to 106K. So that seems like the likely bottom for us. I think that even though we have a good amount of open interest at 107.7, that's right where the price action is at now, I think we're probably more likely to hit these more local lows. Okay. Having said that, 110, 108, and 106, I'm just going to approximate that for you. Those are three areas of open interest, kind of implying that we have support or resistance at those levels. So the daily time frame, we have an ascending type of trend here, of course, right? Where we're still establishing higher lows. So until that discontinues, we want to presume it will continue. All that being said, there's confluence here at 106. We've got a couple of moving averages hanging out there, and that might be a good consideration for a long if the price comes to that range. My original consideration was to take a long in the 107 to 108K range. So we'll talk about that here today, of course, and kind of see if that's still a viability or not. But we are above 50 in the RSI. Money flow index is now above the RSI. These are generally favorable signs. Stochastic's also swinging up. So I think for the most part, we're looking pretty decent here on the daily time frame to not see too much more downside. Now, once more, this pretty heavy volume candle on a holiday. It's not a surprise at all. In hindsight, I said to be safe and try not to take any short positions. Hindsight is 2020. Shorts would have been perfect. But the thing is, it's high risk when you have this much momentum and that much volume that we saw leading into yesterday's trading day, or at least trading day close. So all that being said, what are we looking at here? Well, if we kind of zoom into, this is just the 4-hour time frame, ever since June 22nd. So this is maybe about two to 2.5 weeks worth of trading data. We can see in the last 2 weeks, 107, low 107, basically 107.3 is that area of confluence. We see the most amount of support there and or buying pressure. People are buying the most Bitcoin at that point. Okay, so that's kind of the average. That's good because it tells us that that support is below the price. That's usually a good sign. What isn't good is losing 50 on the RSI here. That kind of lets us know that our support at 107.7 is no longer there and that may be the new high. So the general consensus here is when you see this kind of shift in momentum, you want to wait for it to bottom out and these indicators to cool off before you consider taking a long. So me personally, generally what I'd like to do in situations like this is I like to set trade alerts and kind of just wait for it, right? Now, I'll probably send out a trade alert to our community here as well. If you're not familiar, you can jump on over to our premium section here. By the way, we took some nice profits on Dog with Hat, Bitcoin, and ETH recently, some nice profits there. But what I'm getting at is I have trade alerts here that I provide to my community, and there's just kind of insight on coins that I'm planning to take trades with. So pay attention to that if you're part of our community. Those are just me kind of telling you what my thoughts are and the trade setups of where I'm looking at. And that runs concurrent a lot of times with trade alerts. So why don't we go ahead and do this here? Let's take a quick look at the current fib levels. And once more, I'll post this on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord so you can kind of see it. But generally speaking, we got a lot of confluence here at our 0.618 fib level at low 107 to upper 106K range. Okay. We also got a lot of volume there too that kind of just reinforces support. So the concept here is that I'm going to probably set a trade alert in the low 107K range. And if that area is hit, then I'm going to go ahead and consider taking a trade, right? So it's kind of the concept. I'm going to obviously make sure that I reevaluate when we get there. Maybe just probably not taking a long in the blind, but it seems sensible here for our local range that 107K should provide some support. Okay, that's the concept. Other than that, let's take a look at the hourly really quickly to confirm. And we can see here we're breaking below the cloud here at this point, not a good sign. But we can also see some algorithmic trading here too. A lot of times they're just like perfect candles that just continue to work their way down. So we're starting to see this continuation pattern here. And if we do take a look at TD sequential, we can recognize we hit our overextended state, bounced a little bit for a dead cat, back on down. So we got probably about 5 more hours of continuation down or sideways. So in the next 5 hours, we start to hold this range here of 107 to 107.5. That would be a solid consideration for long, because we'll likely see a pivot bounce to the upside. Now that may not be a significant bounce. It's probably not going to just run back up to 111,000. This is a weekend, folks. It's low volume, but there would be a slow crawl back to the upside there where Bitcoin dominance starts to pull back and alt start to recover. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for a bottom there in the 107K range. That's more locally. From a macro perspective though, remember 105, 106K has more confluence on the larger timeframes. Hope that makes sense. I'll go ahead and post a playout chart here on our Twitter, Telegram, or Discord. You have yourself a fantastic rest of your day. Don't forget to, again, spend time with your family, your friends, your loved ones, and just have an amazing life outside the charts, because this can make your life better outside if you learn to have some good work-life balance, or just chart life balance. I don't know, whatever term you want to use to describe it. Otherwise, I've been going on for too long. I hope you all have a good one. Thanks again so much for being just fantastic people. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.